Resolved that the Board of Education closes executive session and enters back into the public portion of the meeting at 7:28 p.m. Barbara, may we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier?
Here.
Dr. Hinkle? Here. Dr. Martinez?
Here.
Ms. McMichael? Mr. Morris? Ms. Serafino?
Here.
Ms. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Wood?
Here.
And Ms. Gagnon.
Present.
Quorum confirmed.
Thank you. Nothing for district recognitions tonight, so we'll be moving right into our presentation portion of the meeting. And we have our Vice President, Chad Wood, presenting on our strategic planning process.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Is the mic on? How do I turn the mic? Oh, there we go. Okay, very good. All right, well, hello, everybody. My name is Chad Wood. I'm really excited to present our strategic planning progress update for you tonight. This is going to be in regards to our board goals and our about a year-to-date overview. So to start off, the purpose is to share progress on the board's goals over the last year, highlighting key achievements and outlining the steps ahead. So to start us off, in terms of our board certification, I keep saying that wrong, certification progress. Some of our key highlights. This year, we're able to get our self-evaluation completed, and we have some personal focus areas identified for the board. In terms of our training hours, we're over halfway to our annual target. And we have a policy audit partnership active with the NJSBA. So in terms of our next step is to complete our remaining trainings and address focus areas from our self-evaluation. In terms of our QSAC readiness, some of our highlights include that our QSAC self-evaluation performed and submitted to the NJDOE, Department of Education, and the QSAC district monitorings took place on time as scheduled. So our next steps would be to review the QSAC results upon receipt and identify areas of strength and improvement and develop planning accordingly from there. In terms of some grant exploration, we have a partnership activated with Millennium Strategies. This has been already seeing results for us in terms of our DREAMS grant awarded for the Nurtured Heart approach. I talked about this a few months ago in terms of the curriculum minutes, but this approach is really significant. It's pretty inspiring, actually, in terms of you're teaching teachers new approaches on how to handle students the appropriate way, and then they diffuse that down through teaching other teachers. So you teach a few teachers, and slowly over time, it's going to disseminate to the whole district. So it's really exciting. And in terms of our next steps, we have to continue using targeted grant applications and to track awards and outcomes. In terms of our policy updates, we do have a policy list that identifies dates of last revisions for our policy, and this is a big deal in and of itself in terms of tracking, because you need to have a starting point to know when you last edited it and where you're at. So we have started our summer review cycle that's in progress, and we've initiated the policy wellness check through the NJSBA. So our next steps would be for the Personnel and Policy Committee to begin addressing outdated policies by date in partnership with the board attorney and the NJSBA. Oops, sorry about that. In terms of our strategic plan alignment, this is a bigger one. The board focus is aligned with the district's 5-year plan. We're going to have board VP meetings with the superintendent in the spring, although this is something we're still trying to flesh out in terms of the best way to really evaluate the superintendent. And we do have ongoing board progress across identified areas, especially in terms of communications. We have a Board of Ed admin newsletter that's been introduced and has been releasing. We have made immense referendum progress and a lot of committee progress. And in terms of some of our next steps, we are going to establish a review cadence on leadership check-in opportunities in the fall, and we're going to reinstate the Strategic Planning Ad Hoc Committee after the referendum vote. I don't know if you noticed, but the Strategic Planning Committee has fallen back a little bit as we've gotten our plans into coordination, because we only have 9 members, so we have to split our time and priorities efficiently. So after the referendum is through, then we're going to transition back to strategic planning. And in terms of some of the summaries and outlooks, so some of our key takeaways is we have a lot of foundational progress this year, especially coming from the fact that we haven't had a lot of these plans to reference back on for the past few years. This really does give us a strong place to start and a strong place to come back to and think, okay, how can we do better next year? Additionally, several goals are awaiting external input, but progress has been made across all areas, and we're positioning ourselves for the next phases. And we're well positioned to establish new and continuing goals given our experience and progress. And in terms of some of our actual next steps, the board referendum process concludes in September. Then we're going to reestablish the Strategic Planning Committee in about October. We're going to continue grant exploration throughout this time. And our policy review and revisions for the upcoming school year are going to start to come out, and you're going to see them. Big things coming. To continue that, the NJSBA board certification trainings are going to continue in early October to assess board goals in light of progress and district priorities. We know we've had some trouble scheduling, but you got to consider in the summer with 9 people trying to get a quorum of at least 7, it can be very challenging to get all 7. Especially with random vacations, it can be one person's week off might affect our entire date. Additionally, we're going to set new goals, adding board norms to be approved at the October board meeting. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me? All right.
Thank you, Chad. And just to point one item regarding the NJSBA board's certification process, this board is committed to becoming board certified through the NJSBA. As Chad mentioned, we unfortunately had to postpone our August training due to quorum concerns. Again, we do need 7 committed members being able to be here. But I would just like to personally thank, Kurt is not here tonight, but Lauren as well. Either or both Kurt have agreed, despite departing their roles in a few months, they have agreed to help us complete our board certification training in early October, which will allow us to revisit setting board goals for the year. We also intend to add board norms to that process as well, which is exciting for us. So again, I just wanted to extend our thanks. I know our current board appreciates it. We're also obviously going to open that up to the public, but incoming board members will also have the opportunity to participate as well. And I think learning from your experience and having you part of the process will be very valuable to them. So thank you for that. And moving on, let's see. We have, moving on to our next presentation, our access scores by Dr. Angie Buchanan.
Good evening, members of the board, administration, friends and neighbors of the Sparta community. Tonight, I'd like to share a brief overview of 2024-25 access results for our multilingual learners. So the access is a nationally recognized annual English language proficiency assessment for K-12 students. It measures listening, speaking, reading, and writing, with reading and writing making up 70% of the overall score, and listening and speaking making up the other 30%. The state requires an overall score of 4.5 for students to exit this, for our multilingual learner program. Once they reach that benchmark, they're monitored for 2 years to ensure continued success. Parents receive score reports in both English and in their home language, and are reminded annually of their right to decline services. This will all be provided on public website, so the information, if you have specific questions, feel free to ask me or follow up with me in due course. So when we look at the results, if you look across the top line, you'll see that there are a number of students and percentage in these different categories. The reason I don't have numbers of specific students in there, just if you're concerned or worried or interested, is that in some cases the number goes below 10, which is a way of identifying potential individuals. So we don't do that for any set group less than 10. So I've provided percentages, but I have the information if you wish it, board members particularly, if you have any questions. You'll notice that the scores are primarily focused at the developing level, with a strong growth, especially in oral language acquisition. Writing remains our greatest challenge, with nearly half of our students still in the developing range. However, when we look at our successes, I'm just going to quickly show you a 2-year trend with our different 5 schools. So the blue is 2024-25, and the orange is the year previous or prior. So you can see that listening comprehension at Alpine is improving. And again, we're talking about kindergarten to 2nd grade, so they're still learning in many respects. You can see here Mohawk Avenue, we have growth. In some cases, it is very much individual, depending on children, where they're coming from in the world, their sport at home, a whole range of factors that go into whether or not someone is going to improve dramatically or not. So you can also see that right across the board of the 3 K-5 schools, we're seeing progress in each category. Middle school, as you can imagine, those years are not so easy. So we are seeing sort of not dramatic growth, but also not any particular declines. And then at the high school level, we are seeing overall progress in a number of different areas. So when we look at success to celebrate, we're seeing consistent growth in individual English language proficiency across the grade levels. And students are demonstrating more confidence and a deeper engagement with their learning. Teachers across the district are collaborating closely, and we can see clear evidence that professional development is having a positive impact on classroom practice. Our district has been able to retain our staff, our ESL staff, and grow our capabilities, which is providing continuity for our students and has the capacity of not only growing but developing and strengthening overall. We're using data more strategically to guide our supports, and we're also seeing stronger family schools partnerships and increasing collaboration with the community organizations in the wider community, such as the Sparta Benevolent Society. They funded a wonderful field trip, the first field trip that most of our, if not all of our multilingual learners have ever been on, which was a wonderful thing for the Sparta Benevolent Society to be a part of. Together, these efforts are helping students transition more successfully as they work towards the state exit criteria. Equally encouraging is the positive school climate that we're building for our multilingual learners. They're not only learning English, but they're becoming more confident, active participants in their academic environments. And none of this progress would be possible without the tireless dedication of our two outstanding ESL teachers, the support of the wider teaching staff across the district, and the leadership of our administration and you, the members of the board, in supporting us. Your commitment is making a real difference for these students and for their families' lives. In terms of challenges, there are, with the successes, we have to acknowledge the challenges many of our students face. Interrupted schooling, depending where they're from, housing instability, refugee trauma, and a wide variety in prior educational experiences. These factors add complexity to language learning, but our staff remains deeply committed to meeting our students where they are and helping them in order to succeed. So in closing, while literacy remains our greatest area for growth, consistent progress, positive engagement, teacher collaboration, and a supportive climate that we're building together are powerful indicators of success. With your continued leadership, our multilingual learners will not only achieve academically, but will thrive as valued members of our school community. And for that, I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Moving on to our next presentation.
Madam President, could I have an ask question?
Oh, please, yes. Dr. Buchanan, I'm sorry, we actually have a question from one of our board members. Sorry about that.
The mini statistician in me has a question. So in the longitudinal study of 2 years, is your population, do they have to be in, the population is for the 2 years? Or do you allow population to grow from year to year?
So basically what I've done is I have looked at the individuals' reports on, so if they go from 9th to 10th grade, I'm looking at their growth 9th to 10th grade and putting them together. So like, for example, if someone goes from 8th to 9th, I'm including them with the cohort that they're, I'm including them and looking at them as
Right.
they are going over
But what
the
if
years.
someone comes in end of 9th grade and then they go into 10th grade? Would you include them in the population?
So when,
And the only reason I ask is that some of that drop could be statistical drop because they're not in the cohort. for 2
right,
years.
so we have an issue with transient
Right.
students coming in and out during the school year. So if I don't include them, if they don't complete the full year. And I don't include them if they've only got 1 year of statistics to go with.
Okay.
So it's
Thank
only if there's 2 years for me to be able to show whether or not
Right.
there's growth
Okay.
on that particular child. Otherwise, it didn't make sense to
I
me to
just-
be able to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that could happen very easily.
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
No, not at all. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Rocky. Moving on to our next presentation, we have our Superintendent, Dr. Matthew Beck, presenting on chronic absenteeism corrective action plans.
Thank you. Good evening. As Ms. Gagnon said, I am going to present on our chronic absenteeism. I'm going to share what chronic absenteeism is, the latest statistics on our chronic absenteeism throughout the district, and what we are doing to try to continue to decrease the chronic absenteeism rates across the district. A lot of what you're going to see this evening is a repeat of last year's presentation in that I'm going to explain a lot about what chronic absenteeism is and what the requirements are when it comes to action plans, just to educate you on the process of chronic absenteeism and then again, what we are doing about it as a school district. So the definition of chronic absenteeism, according to the NJDOE, a student is considered chronically absent if the student misses 10% or more of the school days in session for which the student was enrolled. 10% of the student's school year equates to 18 days. So if a student were to miss 18 or more days, that student is considered chronically absent. When the number of students that are chronically absent in a school exceed 10%, the number of students exceeds 10%, then we are required to come up with a corrective action plan. As you'll see in a minute, I'll show you the statistics for each school and compare it to last year. Each school is still over that 10% threshold, but you will see a decrease in 4 out of the 5 schools when it comes to chronic absenteeism. Facts about chronic absenteeism: a student is chronically absent if they miss as many as 2 days of school in a month. Evidence indicates that it's how many days a student misses that matters, not why they miss. Attending school every day increases the chances of success. Chronic absenteeism is a primary cause of low academic achievement and a powerful predictor of students who may eventually drop out of school. Chronic absenteeism is not the same as truancy. In New Jersey, truancy is defined as having 10 or more unexcused absences. We'll get into excused and unexcused. Whereas a student in New Jersey is typically declared chronically absent if they have 18 or more excused and or unexcused absences within a school year. By the 6th grade, along with GPA, absenteeism is a top predictor of dropout. According to the NJDOE, as we have to have corrective action plans for chronic absenteeism, those action plans must have these components. You must have a problem-solving team. Last year was the first formal process of having chronic absenteeism teams, and those teams have been combined. Usually those weren't brand new teams that were formed. Sometimes those would be RTI teams, or they would be the data teams in a building. Each building has established a team, but they rolled it into a team that already existed. There wasn't just a chronic absenteeism team. It was already a team that was talking about remediation, or already a team that was designed to talk about data or something else. Data-based decision-making, as I just said, the job of these teams is to assess, to build supports and protocols, and to implement and monitor, which we have done over the course of the past year. And sustainability, standardize and embed practices, which we have done. Ongoing research and PD, which we do, and review and revise. It's in red because that's the stage that we're at when comparing it to last year's chronic absenteeism. More about the need for chronic absenteeism action plans. The New Jersey statute is there. And again, it just says what I said before, that if you have 10% of your students in a school building, you are required to have a chronic absenteeism action plan. That action plan must identify problems and barriers in school attendance, develop recommendations to address the problems and barriers, outline communication strategies to educate and inform parents of the importance of school attendance, establish protocols for informing and engaging parents when a child begins to show a pattern of absences, and review school policies to ensure they support improved school attendance. If you recall, last year we did revise that regulation for attendance. Okay, before I get into the actual statistics, I want to just explain how these statistics work. So The school performance report comes out in April of each year. There is a lag when it comes to what those school performance reports show when it comes to chronic absenteeism and other statistics for that matter. So when the latest school performance report came out in April of 25, that school performance report reflected the chronic absenteeism rates, not for that current school year, the 24-25 school year, but rather the year before, the full school year before. So the performance report in April of 25, the statistics that you see here reflected the 23-24 chronic absenteeism rate. We have to base our corrective action plans on that school performance report and what the DOE gives you as statistics, even with that 1-year lag. That's how it goes. I can tell you, in Genesis, we have the capability of running statistics. So as we were looking at our action plans, as we were looking at the statistics from the 23-24 school year, we were curious to see, well, we put major measures in place for the 24-25 school year. And although that's not what I can report on this evening, we did run those reports out of Genesis, a chronic absenteeism report. And I can tell you the statistics that you see up here, in 4 out of the 5 schools, you see a decrease in chronic absenteeism. The report that we ran, although I cannot formally report on it, because as I just explained, the report that we ran for the 24-25 school year shows an even another decrease on top of the 23-24. So the good news is the measures that we have in place appear to be working in that we are decreasing, sometimes significantly. The one anomaly that we are seeing is you're seeing a decrease in all 4 of the 5 schools, and even that latest report that we ran, you see a decrease in 4 of the 5 schools. Somehow, the Sparta High School is the outlier in that you see a bit of an increase here in the chronic absenteeism rate. That's what that school is going to focus on this year with their data teams. We need to figure out exactly why all the other schools are dropping and the high school is rising. It's rising 2.3% in this case. But you can see the chronic absenteeism rates from the 23-24 school year and compare them to the 22-23 school year, which is what I reported on last year at this time. And again, you can see our rates, the first and third column, how they have decreased, and you can see what the how we compare to the state average as well. So again, you see in Alpine Elementary School, which was the highest last year, you saw the biggest decrease, which is great news. That the measures that we are putting in place are working. So Alpine went from 24% chronic absenteeism. That's almost 1 in 4 students were chronically absent in 22-23, a very high number. You can see that went down to 15.5%. Mohawk Avenue decreased from 17.8 to 15.2. Helen Morgan also decreased 17.4 to 15.5. Sparta Middle School, 16.2 to 12.7. And you see a slight rise, as I mentioned, in Sparta High School. I can tell you it's more informal, as I've stated now multiple times, about the reports that we're running, but the report that we ran, 4 out of the 5 continued to decrease, and actually Sparta Middle School was under the 10%. Now that's the report that we're running locally. We just got to make sure that that is the same statistics that the state is going to use when I'm talking to you next year at this time. Last year, we revised the regulation for attendance. And just to clarify for everyone, or to reiterate, the NJDOE recognizes 2 types of absences. There's state excused and state unexcused. So no matter what we decide as a school district to be excused or unexcused outside of what the state acknowledges, the state's going to say that from the state perspective is an unexcused absence. So hypothetically, if we said, well, if a parent gives us a doctor's note, that's excused. The state says, that's fine if that's how you guys want to run it, but that's not what we look at. The only excused absences, as far as the state is concerned, there's a list of them actually on the next, but there's state excused absences, and that's how we get to the chronic absenteeism. For NJDOE reporting, the only absences that do not count toward chronic absenteeism are state excused absences, as I just stated. In addition to state excused, statute allows districts to establish their own locally excused absences within policy, but still does not affect the state's statistics. Absences outside of the listed state excused and locally excused absences are what count toward chronic absenteeism and truancy. I think one of the biggest misconceptions going into this past school year after I presented this was that parents were worried that if their students were missing a couple of days of school that we were going to file for truancy. That is not the case. Truancy is filed for when there are extreme circumstances of students not coming to school, basically refusing to come to school, or parents refusing to send their students to school. And when you're talking about chronic absenteeism, think about 18 absences when parents are worried about, well, was that excused, was that unexcused? Your child gets 18 puts it in at 10%. Your child gets 17 absences during a school year. That does not put you in the chronically absent category. 17 absences is a lot of absences. Think about missing that many days of school and all the work that you miss and what we try to do to keep students in school because of that. So that was a misconception going into this past school year. Parents were worried, oh my goodness, my students missed 7 days of school. Am I gonna get, are they gonna come after me for truancy or anything like that? No, there's a lot of wiggle room there. Here, policy 5200, reasons for excused absences. You can see the state excused absences. That is nothing that we decide as a school district. That is, the state establishes that these are, when the state looks at student absences and how they're reported from our school district. If we report an absence for one of those reasons on the left-hand column, then the state says, fine, that absence doesn't count actually toward chronic absenteeism. And you can see what they are. On the right-hand side, those are the locally excused absences. So that's what we decided as a school district when we revised the regulation last year. That in addition to the state excused absences, locally excused absences would be what you see there on the right-hand column. And again, just to reiterate, the state, when running the numbers, doesn't really look at what we count as local excuse. That doesn't matter to them. But that matters to us, and it matters to us when we're communicating to parents. And if we have concerns about student absences, if they're outside of any of these things, that's when we start to really implement the corrective action plans. The corrective action plans, because the statistics have continued to decrease, we haven't revised those action plans very much, if at all, because they appear to be working. So you see the Tier 1 strategies. Tier 1 strategies are strategies we use for all students. When it comes to academics, yes, but also when it comes to absences. And you can see what we do there for Tier 1 strategies. This is for all students. They get letters sent home when they hit those certain tiers. We promote and encourage student attendance, and we integrate the importance of attendance into teacher lessons. The Tier 2 and the Tier 3 strategies, these are your more unique cases, the students that are really racking up the absences and that we start to really have concerns about, besides a student being sick or a student having to a reason for a regular absence. When we start to really get concerned about absences, we start to implement Tiers 2 and 3. And that's where we would implement teacher and staff check-ins for students at risk of chronic absenteeism. We call parents in to see what kind of supports we can offer, see what issues, what challenges the families might be facing at home that we can help with. We would establish individualized goals for those students and those families, and possible truancy filings. That's really extreme, and it would have to be a really extreme case when we're talking about truancy. Chronic absenteeism is an issue. Obviously, in Sparta, you can see the statistics, we're still above the 10%, but it's not unique to Sparta. It's an issue locally, statewide, and nationwide. Each Sparta school has measures in place to track students' absences and communicate with parents and to support those students. We do continue to encourage parents worried about absences. If your child is sick, your child is sick. Please do not send them into school. It's not good for the child. It's not good for other children as well. So just because of this regulation and this policy, don't send your child to school sick. That's not what this is about. Our goal is to work with parents and students to ensure students attend school regularly, which will lead to their success. And we acknowledge that there are circumstances that require students to miss school. And like I said before, there are circumstances, and you get 17 of those circumstances throughout the school year, which is a high number. So again, there's a lot of flexibility there. This presentation will be linked on the website as it was last year. When this presentation is linked on the website, when you go to the last slide, you can see each school's individual, those are all hyperlinks, each school's individual chronic absenteeism corrective action plan.
Any questions from the board?
I have one question, Dr. Beck. In regards to the new policy we put in place, we were careful as a policy committee to make sure that in deferring, in some instances, from the state's definition for credits and graduation requirements, that we still locally excuse some absences that the state may have not included. In your opinion, in the administration, have you seen any additional instances that need to be revised in that policy, or do you think it's working well to ensure that our students that are obviously working hard to graduate
Yeah.
retain credit or keep
Yeah, that's a good question, Lauren, because that is a conversation that we had when we were looking at the statistics, when we were looking at revising and updating our corrective action plans, not just looking at the corrective action plan, but looking at the policy. No, early on, there was some ironing out to do, and that just came from misconceptions, maybe a miscommunication between the district and parents, misunderstandings. That was probably the biggest issue that we faced going into last year. But as the school year went along, parents, we were able to communicate more, parents were able to understand more, and that was the biggest issue I think we faced last year. We looked at it, and at no point did we say, oh man, a lot of students are missing for this case and it's not in there, maybe we should add it. There was no such circumstance. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Beck. So seeing as our student representatives are still enjoying their summers, we're going to move on to an approval of the minutes. May I please have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion.
Thank you, Emily. Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And then moving on to our superintendent's report.
Thank you. I'll begin by speaking of our student representatives. I will acknowledge them once again. Actually, they are chomping at the bit. They're ready to go. They asked if they should or could attend. I said they could attend this meeting, and there was no obligation. We really don't look at the student representatives starting until the September meeting, but they all three of them reached out to me and they were asking. So they're ready to go, and we are looking forward to working with them. So on this evening's agenda, you can see that we are formally appointing our student representatives for the 25-26 school year. These students have been elected by their peers to serve in this role as leaders of the Sparta High School Student Council. Next week, they, along with student reps from all of the other high schools in the county, will be trained on the operations of the Board of Education and their role as student representatives by our New Jersey School Boards Association representative. At next month's meeting, we will be joined by our student representatives, who are Abigail Weisbeck, Hayden Kopko, and for the first time, we're going to have an alternate in Jason Caswell. The alternate was a good idea that was brought forth, I believe, by Ms. DeLucia, because these students are student representatives for a reason, and that's because they're super active. And because they're super active, they tend to miss board meetings. So having that alternate was a good idea. We are hosting that training next week at the high school for all students in the county. So I will be attending that. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. So moving on to one retirement on this evening's agenda that I would like to acknowledge. That is Diane Sim. She is a teacher assistant at Alpine Elementary School, and Ms. Sim has served the district for 15 years. So congratulations and best wishes to her. A referendum update. By now, everyone should be well aware that our community will vote on the bond referendum on Tuesday, September 16th. All of the regular polling stations will be open on that day from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have been working hard to provide the community with all the information they need in order to make an informed decision at the polls. We have sent a postcard mailer to all of Sparta Township's residents, held a virtual community forum last week, and continue to keep our website, which is sparta.org/vote, updated with the most current information. On September 9th, 1 week before the vote, we will host an in-person community forum at Alpine Elementary School at 7 p.m. We look forward to providing the opportunity for our community to vote on the future of Sparta Township Public Schools. On this evening's agenda, under operations, you can see a resolution to approve a 5-year facility use contract with Sporting Club Premier, which is a successful soccer program that has been utilizing our facilities for over a year. The long-term contract includes their continued use of our facilities while paying the regular facility use fees. They're providing 2 $500 scholarships each year to 2 of our students, soccer equipment purchases that would benefit them as well as us, and most importantly, a donation not to exceed $100,000 to upgrade our cardio fitness room facilities with state-of-the-art cardio equipment and turf flooring. This contract has been in the works for quite some time, and I'm happy to have it on this evening's agenda for approval, which will benefit all of our students. For the second straight year, Sparta High School earned high national and metro area rankings in 25-26 Best High Schools, which U.S. News and World Report released on Tuesday. By earning a national ranking in the top 40%, Sparta High School achieved status as a U.S. News Best High School. And lastly, I would like to welcome all of our parents, students, teachers, and staff to the 25-26 school year. Our new teachers report for orientation on Monday morning, and all of our staff returns for 2 professional development days on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. We then welcome our students back on Tuesday, September 2nd. All of our 12-month staff has been working hard all summer, and we are ready to embark on what will undoubtedly be another successful school year in Sparta Township Public Schools.
Excellent, thank you so much. Moving on to the board president's report, just a few items I have as well to follow up on a lot of what Dr. Beck has said. We have open houses this week and next. The board wishes all students, staff, teachers, parents, and administration the very best in the coming weeks as the district prepares to reopen its doors. I'll predominantly defer to Dr. Beck's superintendent's report for the referendum updates, but I would also like to thank the constituents who have joined our virtual forums, sent emails with questions pertaining to the referendum, and of course I'd like to remind everyone, as this is our last board meeting before the referendum vote, please make sure you do have a plan in place to vote on September 16th. And with that, we will move on to, please may I have a motion to approve the HIB report?
Motion. I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you, Rocky. Seconded by Lauren. Discussion? Okay, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Emily, do we have anything for communications that we'd like to highlight?
The August newsletter will be out probably by early next week. We're working on it now. After the end of the meeting, we'll put in the final details.
Thank you so much. And then for moving on for our delegate and liaison reports, does anyone have anything they'd like to report out from their delegate or liaison meetings?
I just wanted to touch base on Garden State Coalition of Schools, as I know that our contract with them, an annual renewal, and as you know, I will be taking a little leave from my duties of being a school board member. It's been a great 4 years, but I do need a break with my family. But I have really benefited from our membership in the Garden State Coalition of Schools, and I leave that really up to you guys with whether you want to continue, but I do feel that their advocacy, their testimony on key issues that affect us in the day-to-day of our schools, to our administrators and teachers and our students in Trenton is probably invaluable, and that's really what we're supporting. And Emily and I have, had the opportunity, and Dr. Beck as well, to attend many of their meetings usually when they're held online, when they're a little closer, but tremendous group of people. We've connected with the school boards, and I think it's still, they haven't raised their rates. It's a nominal investment in having really great advocacy for our public schools.
Thank you, Lauren. Anyone else have anything? The only thing I'd like to highlight, the Ideas Committee did meet, and we're very proud of the work that was done in that meeting. As always, it was super collaborative. We opened it up to a few more members than usual, just to brainstorm and really consider a bunch of things. And I anticipate we'll have more to report out on that in the next month or so, but some topics included staff wellness, referendum, of course, upcoming Day of Discovery, and a few potential policy revisions and handbook discussions that were held. So thank you, as always, for that great committee work. And if no one else has anything else, we'll be moving on to public comment number 1. Public comments are invited on matters pertaining only to action items at this time. Please state the action item number as well as your name, municipality, and group affiliation if appropriate for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. Once you have had your allotted 3 minutes to speak, you will not be permitted to speak again until public comment number 2. All statements should be directed to me as the presiding officer. The board or administration may or may not respond to any questions or comments after the conclusion of the public participation.
Hello, good to see you again. Jenny Derrick, Step into Sparta. First was about 15.16 and 15.17 overload stipends. It seems like we have a significant number, especially at the high school in the area of special ed, and I'm just wondering if these are anticipated to continue through the whole year, or if this is just a fix until we have some staffing solutions. 15.21 preschool. Do we know how many, I'm sure you know, how many sections do we have in district and how many sections are out of district? And do we know if there are, how many students were not able to be accommodated in our program this year? And then 18.2 NJDOE PEA waiver. What are the elements of the pre-K program that we're seeking a waiver for? Is this typical? Is this something we do each year? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything? Okay, seeing no one, motion to close. Thank you, Emily. Second? Thank you, Rebecca. All in favor? Any opposed, any abstentions, any discussion?
Yeah. The overload sections has been pretty consistent over the past couple of years. The number of overloads, they are obviously, as you can see, the rationale is the number of sections that we have. We have gone through this each year at budget time. We go through the idea of, well, if there's 5 overload sections, would it be cheaper to hire a teacher? And the answer is no. So we continue to operate with those overloads. The need is there. The question becomes personnel and what is most cost effective and what works operationally. And this is the answer to that. These overloads, as opposed to hiring a teacher who would cost more between the overload, their salary, and then the benefits. It's cost effective as well. Pre-K sections, at Alpine we have, go ahead.
We
Or you can
have,
say overall.
yeah, we have 8 in district, 6 at Alpine, 2 at Helen Morgan, and this year there will be 3 out of district, 2 at the Goddard School and 1 at Little Genius People, which is new for this year. And 18.2, you asked about the waivers, and the waivers are actually just for classroom size, and it's the classroom size at the Goddard School only.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on. May I please have a motion to move items, personnel and policy items 15.1 through 15.34?
And I have one to remove,
Yes,
please.
please,
That
that's
would
right.
be 15.8, the temporary transfer. I'm just going to totally remove that from the agenda.
Perfect, thank you. So may I have a motion to move items 15.1 through 15.34, removing item 15.8 as amended?
Motion.
Thank you, Emily. Second? Thank you, Rebecca. Any discussion? Since Kurt isn't here, it was pretty run-of-the-mill in terms of personnel and policy. I would just call to attention, any of the policy updates that we're seeing were the result of a Strauss-Esme policy alert. So nothing major to draw attention to, but it's covered in our agenda, and it'll also be covered in the newsletter as well if anyone has specific questions. And with that, may we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkle?
Yes, abstain from 15.6 and abstain from current or former student committee president.
Dr. Martinez?
Item 15.5, no to Craig Giannano, rest of the substitute, and rest of the section 15.
Ms. Serafino?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
And Ms. Gagnon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. May I next have a motion to move items, curriculum instruction and special services items 16.1 through 16.13?
Motion?
Thank you, Chad. Second? Thank you, Rebecca. Discussion.
Yes, I have some discussion for us today. Yeah, we had a pretty great meeting. I always love working with Ms. Rossi because you can kind of, she's not here tonight, unfortunately, but you can kind of frame any question at her and she'll give you an answer. So one question that we brought up was the idea of implementing a junior ROTC program. And previously, the costs were too costly, and frankly, that still is what we're seeing today, is that it's very costly, and we are considering potential grants for such initiatives, but we are exploring the potential for grant opportunities and along with partnerships for outside businesses to secure necessary funds for more programming at Sparta High School, especially in terms of clubs or things of that nature. We had the great access presentation from Mr. Buchanan today, which I thought was very informative. And just one additional note that I think is important to mention is that we annually review the outlines for how districts screen students in terms of support services, but also for the gifted and talented program. So I just wanted to give that a mention because it is something that is reviewed every single year. And not everyone is always happy with their math placements, but it is constantly being reviewed and re-scrutinized to be the best that it can be.
Thank you, Chad. May we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkle?
Yes.
Dr. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Serafino?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
And Ms. Gagnon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. May I have a motion to move finance items 17.1 through 17.16, although we'll have Barbara read 17.16 as amended.
Okay, 17.16 had some blank information on it, so that information will be filled in. Resolved that the Board of Education hereby appoints the law firm of Chasin, Lamparello, Mallon, and Capuzzo as general board counsel effective 10/1 of 2025 per terms of its RFP dated August 7th, 2025.
Thank you, Barbara. May I have a motion? Thank you. Rebecca, second?
Second.
Thank you, Emily. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to go through a few things. All parents who are waiting for their children to get started at school, just know that transportation is going to be ready. There's some good cooperation between the Board of Ed and Department of Public Works. They're going to pave some areas around the schools. Summer cleanings are going to be on time, which is always good to hear. Just so that everybody understands that when the board says we're going to do something, we do something. The van that we approved was received, and Chris was very happy about that. Water bottle filters were cleaned in the schools, which is good for the start of school. And I'd like to end with saying thank you to the, where to go here? Alpine PTO for donating $1,000 for landscaping for the 25-26 school year. We greatly appreciate anything that could help the schools look better. And that's it.
Thank you. Anyone else for discussion?
I guess just speaking to 17.6, I just want to let my fellow members know that I will be a no on that. I've been very pleased. Sorry. I'm sorry. What?
You said 17.6. It's okay. 17.16, I think it is.
Okay, 17.16. I will be a no. I've been very pleased with our current firm, with Shank Price, and I just want to thank both Joe and Mark Zedimer for their and Kate as well. But this is speaking to general counsel, but I've been very pleased with their services, the continuum with our administration. And while I certainly respect the board majority, I wish it could have gone the other way because I would have really appreciated having that continuum of relationship for the district just as they navigate ahead.
Thank you, Lauren. Anyone else have anything? Discussion? Okay, with that, can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier?
Yes to all, no to 17.16.
Dr. Hinkle? Dr. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Serafino?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
And Ms. Gagnon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. And moving on to operations, may I have a motion to move items 18.1 through 18.7?
Motion.
Thank you, Lauren. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Rocky. Any discussion? We've covered.
Just a quick one. The the district's doing a great job with doing disposals, which fall under operations. Being in this business, disposals are not easy, and the fact that we're not paying for it is actually a great testament to getting that done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to again thank Dr. Beck for his chronic absenteeism presentation. Very important, as he mentioned multiple times, to note 4 out of 5 of our district schools are showing decreases, which is great. We're hoping to continue trending in the right direction. So thank you to the parents that make that possible. We look forward to your support in bringing those numbers down even further than we already have. And then also student handbooks, just to ensure that there's no alarm. Approval was recommended by our board attorney. Very run-of-the-mill, everything looked great from what we saw, so I'm certainly in support, but again, just something that was advised going forward, and as we make sure that that's a collaborative process, which I believe we've done. So with that, we have motion, second, discussion. May we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier?
Yes.
Dr. Hinkle? Dr. Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Serafino?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
And Ms. Gagnon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. And moving on to old business. Anyone have anything for old business they care to discuss? No? New business? Old or new business? Going once, going twice? Okay, public comment number 2. The board uses the second public comment period to invite comments on all matters pertaining to the school district. Please state your name, municipality, and group affiliation if appropriate for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. Once you have had your allotted 3 minutes to speak, you will not be permitted to speak again. All statements should be directed to me as the presiding officer. The board or administration may or may not respond to any questions or comments after the conclusion of the public participation.
Good evening. My name is Angela DeLucia, and I am the very proud president of the Sussex County and Sparta Education Associations. Before we dive into the excitement of the year ahead, I want to pause and thank the people who keep our schools running all year long. To our 12-month secretaries who keep the wheels turning even when the halls are quiet, thank you for your dedication and your ability to juggle countless details with a smile. To our student assistance counselor whose care and expertise support the heart and well-being of our students. You make a difference every single day. To our IT staff who make the magic of technology seem effortless, we know it's not, and we are grateful. And to our athletic trainers and coaches who keep our student athletes healthy, strong, and safe, thank you for your tireless commitment. This summer, our extended school year once again built a true bridge between school years, helping students continue learning, growing, and building confidence so they return in September ready to succeed. At the same time, our educators dedicated countless hours to curriculum writing, ensuring lessons remain fresh, relevant, and engaging. We also invested in professional development, strengthening our skills and sharing best practices to be even more effective in the classroom. And yes, we even made time for equally important rest and resetting, because a recharged educator is a stronger educator. As we begin this school year, we do so with a settled contract, new rosters, and new goals, all fueling our commitment to succeed together. The Sparta Education Association is grateful for our ongoing collaboration through our Ideas Committee. These open and honest conversations with the board and administration allow us to address the issues that matter most to our staff and students and schools. And once again, we are proud to support the Sparta Schools referendum. This is not just about bricks and mortar. It's about creating modern, safe, and inspiring spaces that empower learning. It's about giving students the resources they need to excel academically, explore creatively, and prepare for the future. Strong schools lift our entire community, boosting property values, attracting new families, and ensuring Sparta remains a place where education is a point of pride. So please mark your calendars for September 16th. If you are eligible, get out and vote. Your voice is your vote. Together, we've proven when educators, staff, board, administrators, families, and community work as one, we can achieve incredible things. We look forward to a year filled with success, growth, and unity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello again, Jenny Derricks, Tap into Sparta. Just two quick follow-ups. Do we have an understanding of how many students are underserved or unserved or unable to get a slot in our preschool program? Were there people who applied who didn't get in? Do we know how many that is? And Dr. Beck, in your presentation, I'm sorry I missed it. I know I'm addressing to you, Caitlin, but in your presentation, I'm sorry if I missed it, but did you have an opinion about what Genesis showed for the high school, for the rate for the last school year? Did it go up, down, stay the same, still a problem? Okay. If you can explain. Thank you.
Thank you.
The pre-K lottery, yeah, it was a lottery system again this year, and there were students that did not get in, that were not selected as part of the lottery. I don't have that number in front of me, but it was significant. It was dozens of students, for sure. We're still working toward achieving our pre-K universe, as the NJDOE calls it. So we are continuing to look to expand our pre-K expansion program into the community partnerships. So we're continuing to look into that to continue to serve those students so the wait list decreases, or those that don't get in from the lottery. And I don't have that in front of me, the high school statistics for the 24-25 school year. I'd have to look it up. If you email me, I can get that to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks again. Anyone else? No, all set. With that, may I have a motion to close public comment number 2? Thank you, Rebecca. Second. Thank you, Rocky. All in favor? Aye. Any abstentions? Any opposed? Okay. Anyone for good of the order?
I have something quick. Regarding the upcoming referendum, I just wanted to put out just ask the community to bring your questions forward, to vote at sparta.org. No question is too silly, too complex. If you do not feel that we have adequately given the information out, please let us know, because we have esteemed professionals, administration, the board. We want everyone to have the information that they need to make an informed vote. And I would just encourage everyone to email if they have any questions. Thank you.
Well said, Lauren. I would also add to the in-person tour, I think, is a really unique opportunity for everyone to come and actually see the facilities that we're looking to improve. And obviously there will be a forum as well, so any questions can be answered there as well. But to your point, excellent. Any avenue available, reach out. And anyone else for the good of the order? We will not be reconvening into closed session this evening, or resuming open session for that matter. So may I please have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Rebecca. Second. Thank you, Emily. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. Have a nice night, everyone. Thank you.
Jenny, I'll save you an email. I found it.
Just resolve that the Board of Ed approves the motion to close the meeting of the Sparta Board of Education at 8:26 p.m. Thank you, Barbara. Good night, everyone.
Of course.